Hi everyone, Mike DelRose here with the DelRose McShane team, joined by my co-host Bobby McShane. Welcome, Bobby.
Hey guys.
We do case studies. We talk about real life real estate situations and transactions that you get to hear about and see how these work from both the perspective of the buyers and the sellers. Today we're going to be talking about speed and execution and how that has won our clients more deals, where otherwise they wouldn't be in the running for housing. In this case, we're going to talk about two different scenarios. The first, a single family down in Mansfield, and the second, a single family down in Attleboro. So let me lay it out. We'll talk about the first scenario first down in Mansfield, and we'll go from there. The backdrop is I've been working with these buyers, good friends of mine, for several months. They were really looking for a certain neighborhood in town, and we'd go to open houses together. Get to go visit them, which was awesome. But they really wanted a specific neighborhood, and the price points down in Mansfield were very interesting because your first time home buyers, that sub $800,000 price band, it was kind of slow, believe it or not, during this time of the year. Like, this is the fall slowdown last year where interest rates kind of ticked up and things just weren't moving as fast. So that price point was slow, but luxury stayed slow as well. But this middle price band, this 800 to 1.5 price band, like you couldn't touch it. All these trade up buyers looking to get into houses and expand for space, which down there is plenty of space. It's just these houses, the days on market were less than a week on average. I think the median was actually 12 days on market. So that's a typical time frame you're seeing. Open houses, offer presentation, a couple days for putting the house under agreement.
On market.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, very competitive. So my clients were ready. We originally looked at a higher price point, but then we're like, you know what? We don't really need to spend that much. Let's go down a little bit lower, and we can afford to bid up if we need to. So that was the plan. So this perfect property comes on. We tour the home, love it, great. Run my numbers, give them a fair range of market value, and we made a very competitive offer on it. The listing agent calls me up and she says, "Yeah, sorry, you were in third." Like, oh, great. We've been here before, right? So about an hour later, it was a Monday or Tuesday morning. I get a call back from the listing agent after this phone call, and she says, "Hey, Mike, your people still around?" And I'm like, "We literally haven't left wherever we were sitting. Like, we work together, but I was like, we're here." She goes, "The first two offers are waffling. That we couldn't really come to terms." And I said, "How far off are we?" And she's, "Mike, you're $25,000 off." I said, "Give me a minute." So I call my client. I'm like, "This is the scenario." And remember, we had dropped our price point, so we're well in the range of fair market value. We're not overpaying for a house at that point if we're coming up 25K. We did it. We called her back and we said, 25K, you got it. The offer's actually already in your inbox. That was less than 10 minutes. It took me from getting off the phone to her, calling my client, and representing the offer. She's like, "Mike, I'm in a meeting. Perfect, we're on." She comes out of the meeting, sends it to her sellers, and it's signed. You know, we were not first, and we were pretty far off in terms of offer price. Even in this price point, $25,000 is a lot of money. That doesn't go unnoticed. But the lesson here is speed and execution. At this point, yes, I'd been working with these people for a while, but when we train home buyers on getting out there and making competitive offers, there's a reason we do all sorts of prep work up front, whether it's understanding the market, understanding the documents they're going to be signing, because we know at the end of the day, scenarios like this, even if they're more rare, are going to come up. My clients were able to act extremely fast because of that preparation. They understood market value for the location. They understood what they were getting in the house. That speed got them the offer over anyone else. No one else got a shot at it after that initial offer presentation. So that's the first time scenario. Thoughts on that?
That's great. Honestly, it's great to see too in markets, other markets too, that we're seeing, very similar results as well. So, great job. That's awesome.
I'm just here to pat my own back, I guess. Second scenario is more recent. This is Mother's Day, week ago, 2026, and I'd been working with these clients for a very long time. And when they made offers, they were competitive, and they were in a lower price point that was extremely competitive. And you're talking 20 plus offers for every house.
Wow.
And this is just out on the outskirts of Greater Boston, along that 495 belt. And it gets very challenging when you have a huge pool of first-time home buyers that all have the same finances. They're using the same banks. They're looking at the same houses. So when you go to an open house, you see the same buyers over and over again. What made the difference here was the timing. This property came on Thursday before Mother's Day. There were tenants in the property. Always difficult to show. You're uprooting essentially someone else's life for you to see the property. They have no financial interest in the home. Home sellers and listing agents love to give those people some space and allow them, basically accommodate them, so you're not forcing people out to show houses. Um, but it comes on Thursday, 24-hour notice. So no one's getting in the first day it comes on market. The only other time to show it during the week is on Sunday, which guess what was a holiday, Mother's Day. Um, my client's like, Mike, we don't want to bother you. We know you're celebrating with your wife and your mother. And I said, no, no one else is going to get an opportunity to see this property. Of course we're going. So we jump in the car, head down there on a Sunday, 45, 50 minutes away. We come back, we immediately run numbers and write an offer. We know that no one else has the time to do that. And sure enough, there was no negotiation. We made it a strong enough offer that was, in the seller's eyes, enough to take it off market without having anyone else see it. Um, you know, what you pay is largely going to be the primary factor in getting an offer selected. It is what it is there. We don't set the prices. We just know where prices have been going and can convey that to our clients. So when we went for the home inspection, the next week, the agent says, "Oh yeah, people were mad. People were really mad. You can't get in." But that's how aggressive you have to be sometimes. And if your buyers are well prepped and savvy enough to understand what that house is worth on the open market, more often than not, they're going to get their first or second offer accepted instead of the third, fourth, or fifth time out there. The buyers have already adjusted to what is going to happen. They're prepared and we're ready to go. I feel bad for those other buyers, but it's a really competitive game.
20 offers on some in some of those houses you said too.
Yes.
What's something that other than price, obviously, that buyers can do in such a competitive market to stand out?
Appraisals. Right now, a lot of the data hasn't caught up. And when you're looking at we're just in that, would you say we're in the height of the spring market right now?
Yeah, yeah, over the
Yeah.
last
So
month and a
timing,
half or so, it's really
timing.
been.
So
Yep.
when you come off a fall market and the new year opens up and you get out of the holidays, those houses tend to sell for the most amount of money. And that's because everyone has seen everything else that's been sitting from the holidays and before. Those aren't interesting to new buyers. So when you do get an opportunity, you just have more eyes on it. So what happens is the data doesn't catch up because our data lags about 60 to 90 days. I'm getting to appraisals, don't worry. But essentially what happens is these properties are selling so high over the asking price and they're not ridiculous enough where the house isn't worth it, but the data just doesn't come up. So what ends up happening is there's more appraisal issues. At least I find in the start of the year compared to June, July, and August. So what that means for my buyers is they really have to understand this property might not appraise out, and the bank might have you put more money down. So being prepared for that scenario in advance. We're seeing some buyers out there waive their appraisal contingency as part of the mortgage contingency, not subject to appraisal. They write in their offers. And that says to a seller, oh wow, these people understand that this house might not appraise out. They're ready for it. They're serious buyers. So I've seen that. Sometimes they're putting so much money down, the appraisals are waived. They don't even have appraisals. And when you can demonstrate that to a seller, if your buyer comes from a strong financing position, if you're going out and buying a home and you have a strong cash position, use it, leverage it. You can refinance after, but getting that window of opportunity and taking advantage of it has been really huge. Obviously, there's no waiving of home inspection, so everyone's out there having their home inspection, which as a buyer's agent I love. But that doesn't give you an opportunity to differentiate yourself other than dates, financing terms, um, eliminating subject to selling your own home, anything along those lines. So competition is definitely still there and it's definitely impacting the way we present offers.
Yeah, that's great insight. And I can say too, on two family sale that I represented a buyer within the last month, we addressed the appraisal up front for a discrepancy, and I was told that that was a real game changer when we were in a multiple offer situation. So to your point, the appraisals, the financing, especially with the inspection piece out, those are things that'll be a difference maker for strong buyers.
Yeah, and other than that, the focus on speed is real. So when we train our buyers and our sellers alike, we look for people that have the ability to move fast, even if it takes you a while to get there. that's certainly an advantage. So that's
Hmm.
our case study for this week.
Awesome. Great
All right.
job. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.